Oh, yeah, we are back, baby. Too many men in the huddle with Cheech along with
Jay,
Shay. Shay, how you doing today, buddy?
doing great. So excited to be freaking back. Let's go. Episode two.
Episode
Continue
two,
to.
man. I'm ready. I'm so ready. And hey, look, guys, viewers, everyone out there for our first show yesterday. Shay, I think we did pretty well.
I think it went okay.
I think it went
The
okay.
best is to come. Come on.
Yes, absolutely. So guys, today on the show, we're gonna get through all the games. We're gonna give our picks through each of the games. John, what do you say, huh? Like that little pun that we start out with the Tampa Bay Bucs and the Chicago Bears. The line opened at 3. I know you say you want to do current line, just giving a little backstory. The line's at 3.5, over under sitting at 44.5. What's your feel on it? What do you think is gonna happen?
Okay, so first off, Tampa Bay is going to be missing OJ Howard. He's put on IR today. Godwin's going to probably miss the game. He might have played if they played Sunday. They're a little banged up. Even their players that are healthy, Mike Evans had a little bit of a hamstring issue at the end of the game last week. Gronk's banged up. I feel like Gronk is always banged up his entire career, but he still plays. That being said, this over under, the Bears, they've definitely overachieved to this point. They're 3-1. Nick Foles is a starter now. Uh, I don't believe in that 3-1 record. Extremely fortunate, and I think Tampa Bay is going to take this game. Uh, I'm going to go with the over on the points, and I'm also going to go. Yeah, I would still take Tampa Bay. Like 3.5, that's pretty low. I think they're significantly the better team. Their defense is fourth. Chicago's defense is eighth. Chicago's offense 24th. Tampa Bay's is kind of middle end, surprisingly, with all the weapons they have. They're only 16th in the league, but I think this game will start off slow and sluggish, and then Tampa Bay's going to take it. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I agree with you on all cylinders. And honestly, viewers, it's very rare that we agree on everything, but I really do agree. I think Chicago is a fluke at 3-1. They had a last second drop. Detroit did when they were playing Chicago that made Detroit lose in the final seconds of the game. I don't know who Stafford threw it to in the end zone, but that could have been the end of the game right there. Chicago should be 1-3. The record should be completely reversed. Look, the Bucs are catching stride. I think Tom Brady, the second half, Brady looks great, right? Against the Chargers on Sunday, he looked fantastic. That's the Brady that we know. I think that their stride is coming together. I take the Bucs, and I'm going to go under the total though. But I like the Bucs winning and covering.
Okay. Yeah, we're in agreement. All right, one down. Next up, Buffalo, Tennessee. Let's hear your opinions on this, buddy.
All right, Shay. We know Buffalo's my Super Bowl pick, man. I've been high on them ever since the year started. As far as Buffalo, Josh Allen is an absolute stud. Okay, my Super Bowl MVP is going at a rapid rate right now. 71% completion percentage, 12 touchdowns, one pick, 331 yards passing a game. Buffalo is sixth in the league as far as points against. And you might say to yourself, wow, they give up so many points. Everyone's giving up a massive amounts of points right now in the NFL. So I think that they're firing on all cylinders of the ball. Everything looks to come together. And I mean, I'm upset that we got rid of Diggs, but I see how much it's helping my Super Bowl MVP and Josh Allen. So I like the Bills in this game. Tennessee, I was looking at a lot of stats for Tennessee, and they do have top 12 offense and defense all around as far as points per game, points allowed, yards per game. Everything is in the top 12. So they're a very, as far as my stats, I don't know if you have anything that differs, but as they're a very well put together franchise. I just like Buffalo. I don't know. When you have those feels on games, I don't really have too much of a reason. I just like Buffalo in this game. What do you think?
Completely opposite. I don't hate you, Buffalo. I do love you, but I like Tennessee better as a team. One thing Tennessee has not been good at is they've actually given up a lot of yards. They're only 28th in total defense and yards. So they're actually underachieving. Buffalo's defense is actually only 20th in total yards. That's very surprising. To me, yards matter a lot. Sometimes points can be a little fluky. We do talk about like third down conversion and red zone conversion, but some weeks you just get unlucky. You get a drop, you get a bad penalty. Something happens. Um, but both teams, Buffalo, fourth in total offense, Tennessee, 10th in total offense. To me, Tennessee had a COVID bye week for last week. They had that much time to prepare for Buffalo. And Buffalo, they did end up winning pretty handily, but that game was pretty close throughout. They were actually down or close the entire game. I just like Tennessee's experience, and I also like Tennessee's toughness just a little bit more than Buffalo. I like both these teams. I like both their coaches. I like the makeups of both teams. I think Tennessee takes this one at home.
Okay, and one game that we disagree with, and just FYI, the line is Buffalo -1 in Tennessee. Just throwing that out there. Next game on the card, that's one that we disagree with. 1-1 so far, right? Next game on the card, I have the Panthers at the Falcons. I don't know if that's the next one for you, but we're gonna roll with it, man. Look, what I see is a depleted Falcons team that's 0-4 at home and a favorite by 2.5 points, which I have no idea how. Playing the Panthers, who everyone thought was going to be terrible. I think the Panthers are actually a lot better than what people thought. Teddy Bridgewater is a starter in this league. What do you see in this game?
So I don't know who those people are, but just looking at their roster construction, I actually liked a lot of the moves that Carolina made this offseason.
Game.
Teddy, yeah, Teddy is an improvement. He might have a low ceiling, but he is way better than what they had last year. You got to remember, Cam didn't really play that much last year at all. I think he got like a game or two in. Like he was non-factor, and then they had like Will Greer. Oh, terrible! Like, nope. So Teddy instantly is a significant upgrade right there. McCaffrey's out, but they actually have won the 2 games since he's been out. Miraculously, the receiving core, I do like the receiving core with Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore. Curtis Samuel needs to start getting it going, but overall, like they have good weapons on offense. Their defense has been overachieving, in my opinion. They're 11th in total defense right now. That all being said, I think Atlanta wins this game.
I do too.
I actually think they could easily be 2-2. They really should be. They blew that Dallas game, monumental fashion. They blew a game the very next week. Same thing. They should easily be 2-2. Their defense is horrendous. It's been bad for like 2-3 years now. But their offense with their weapons and everything, I think they're going to win this game. In the long run for the season, I would say Carolina is going to have a better season than them. I just do not believe in the Falcons. They just have always underachieved to their talent. Just they always have. So I'm going to pick Atlanta this week, though.
And I agree with you 100%. And here's why I agree. The Falcons, I think, and I say this every week, John, but I really think that this is the week that Dan Quinn is playing for his job. Am I nuts to think that, Shay? I really think that this is the week because on Monday, I don't think the Falcons had a lead the entire game. So they didn't blow a lead. I think this is the first time that in the Dan Quinn era that they haven't blown a lead. So if they could start out on a bit of a right foot, I think that they could win this game. And look, being 2.5 point favorites at home, field goal, win by a field goal. And Matt Ryan, we know what he could do, right? They're, from what I see, pass yards a game, 6th in the league, yards per game, 6th in the league. They're right there in the top 10, right? Come on. Atlanta, pull one together for me. Make me right once this year, please. You got the next game on the card, buddy?
Yeah. So next game I have up going here, I have Jacksonville at Houston. What a matchup! Another like yuck fest. Jacksonville is 19th in offense, 23rd in defense. Houston is 27th in offense and 22nd in defense. These are two mediocre teams. The only bright spot I see in Jacksonville so far is their running back, the undrafted running back, Josh Robinson, has been just godsend so far. Minshew has kind of regressed this year. I don't see the same player. I actually don't like their weapons aren't really well known, but overall, I think they have some good weapons. Um, I'm going oof, something with teams when they change their head coach and they do have the better quarterback. I'm going Houston this week. I just have a feeling.
I, John, I'm 100% with you. 1-3 team in Jacksonville versus the 0-4 team in Houston. A crazy stat for you that I got. The Texans won their last 4 games versus Jacksonville. The point differential for all 4 combined is 54. So the Texans could really put a whopping on this team when they want to, which is the past 4 meetings, right? And like you said, it's something about having a new head coach that a team just loves to play for you just that much more. And I think that they're going to elevate it a little more on Sunday, and they're just going to scuff out the win. They're 6.5 point favorite. I don't know if I would take the points. I think Houston wins. Um, I'd actually go exactly as it is. I'd go 26-20 Houston. I want to go any higher. I want to go any lower. I think that's a perfect number. Do you have any second thoughts or anything?
I would take Jacksonville with the points. I think it's going to be like a 4 point game, somewhere in that range. But I think Houston gets on the board. You were talking about a new coach. Romeo Crennel's been in here, been around a long, long time, and his players have loved him and liked him everywhere he's been. He hasn't been successful as a head coach, I would say, um, but he's been in the league a long time. He's going to be a stabilizing force for them. Uh, I think they're gonna play at least in the immediate future. They're gonna play well these upcoming weeks. They're gonna start off here with W here, get on the board. Next game I have up is actually the Joe Burrow led Cincinnati Bengals um, at the Baltimore Ravens. Uh, Cincinnati, you wouldn't know from looking at it. They're 20th in overall offense. They're 24th in defense, which is better than last year. Baltimore is only 25th in offense in total yards. They're 17th in defense. I think that's going to course correct throughout the season. I think they're going to be in the top 10 in both those categories eventually. They're just getting going. Um, I think this might be close for a quarter. I think Baltimore is going to lay it on them, and I worry for Joe Burrow's life in this game.
Wow. Okay. This is actually one of my bets of the week. Obviously, I'm not going to go against Lamar. The Ravens are going to win, but I think 13 points in a division game, that's kind of a lot of points. And I know what you're going to say. Last year, the Ravens steamrolled them and the games weren't close, etc. Right? Exactly. And look, this is another stat that scares me, right? The Bengals, they have not had a back-to-back win since week 4 and 5 in 2018, 2 years. And they lost 7 straight road division games, Cincinnati has, while the Ravens on the other side have won 8 of their last 9 division games. Everything points to Baltimore to win. But as far as covering, I think Cincinnati's found their guy in Burrow. Am I crazy to think that he could keep it within 2 touchdowns?
Yep, you're insane. Yep, no way. Maybe someday he'll be able to keep it within 2 touchdowns against them, but I don't see it.
All
I
right.
mean, it would have to get injury to Lamar, which we do not want to see that. But I think they're going to lay the wood to them. It's over. Like they're going to destroy them. This is going to be. I know Vegas put that like 13. It's crazy to pick a 13-point game. I think they're winning by 3 touchdowns
Wow.
pretty easily.
Wow. All right. Well, hey, what's the saying that they're saying betting? I don't know. There's so many of them. I just really like them with the points. Here's another one that's really interesting. The Cardinals at the winless Jets. Not really interesting at all. I just trying to make some light of the situation. The Jets are abysmal. They're 0-4. I don't think that they've scored. I'm sorry. They're 31st in points per game, 31st in yards per game, 26th in rush yards per game. Well, the Cardinals are at the back end of these statistics too, of what I got. They're 20th in yards per game, 26th in pass yards per game, and 6th in rush yards per game. But I mean, when you can't move the football and you are going, you're home, but you're playing a team who could move the football, a quarterback that is a better rusher than your own running back. I just think that there's nowhere to point rather than the Cards here at -7. I think it's an absolute blowout. The Jets haven't been close in any game that they played so far this year. Darnold, again, he's good. It's no knock on him, really. Just the coaching staff, the weapons that he has. There's nothing that's falling for him. The Cardinals are all around better team, all around better system, all around better quarterback, coach, the whole bid. I'm taking the Cardinals -7. What's your thoughts?
I think the Cardinals are going to win. I think this will be closer than 7. I have no idea why. I really have no reason for it. Like, Cardinals have the better quarterback, the better offensive weapons. I would say they even have the better defensive playmakers. I don't think their defense has been great, but at the same time, it's better than anything the Jets have. We talked about the Jets extensively last show, and they are the 0-4 team. If you notice, we talked about Atlanta winning, Houston winning. You would think, okay, this is the week the Jets are going to win. Nope. I don't see it. I think it's going to be close, but I think Arizona is going to win this game. Less than 7, but just too much. They actually have talent on their team.
Interesting. And I also have a stat here just to go up on that a little bit more. They're 0-4, the Jets are, for the second straight season. Before that, they were just 0-4 6 times in their entire existence. So to do 0-4 back-to-back years, you're bad. Again, I don't know how Gay still has a job. We touched on it. It's just unbelievable to me. Do you have the next game on your sleep, buddy?
Yeah. Vegas versus at Kansas City. Vegas is 15th in offense, 21st in defense. Kansas City is 5th in offense, 14th in defense. The Raiders have not played well against the Chiefs and Andy Reid. Andy Reid is their daddy. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he is. He's their daddy. They play as if he is sitting on their back as they're playing. I think this is another. I think the Raiders are going to stay in the game a little bit, but then kind of how Kansas City's been all season, they're going to just slowly pull away. They have too much speed, too many weapons. Best quarterback in the league, hands down, Patrick Mahomes. So it's over, buddy. I think they're going to win. You have the point spread on that game?
Yeah, it's 13 and a, oh, I'm sorry, 11 and a half.
I think that's a little high. I might go with the Raiders at the points, just barely. I do think the Raiders have a much more rounded team. This is probably John Gruden's best team since he's been back, I would say, talent-wise. But I can see Kansas City winning by 10. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? The opening line was 11 and a half. It actually went up to 13. That's
Okay.
my second bet of the week, by the way, guys, is taking the Raiders with the points. You said Andy Reid is their daddy. I just figured, let me Google and see what the all-time record is. I mean, boy, oh boy, 40-9, 28-10, 35-3, 40-33, 26-15. The last time the Raiders won was in 2017. So it's been quite some time. You're not lying. And these scores are not even close. So it's kind of making me second guess taking these points. But wow, Andy Reid sure is their daddy. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, I mean, look, the Raiders are 2-2. Okay. What the performance that I saw when they played the Saints, I kind of got excited because I saw Gruden football again. And I was like, did you get that feeling too when you saw them play the Saints and they were winning and you had that feel to you, right? And you're like, yes, like Gruden's awesome. I love him. Derek Carr might be doing really well under him. I think Carr doesn't have an interception so far this year either, by the way. I just think that it's a lot of points to be given. And look, Kansas City is the defending Super Bowl champs. There's no knock on them. I still think they're going to win too. Again, after looking at these numbers since 2017, it's a little skeptical to be taking these numbers and in these points. But you also got to remember that the Raiders have played 2 straight tough games too, right? They played against New England. And I mean, they kind of got steamed. They kept it close for a little bit, but they ended up getting steamrolled. And then when they played, I'm sorry, who did they lose to the last game? Do you recall by any chance? But they got steamrolled in that one too. They lost 2 straight after starting out 2-0. I think this is a game for the Raiders to kind of get back up on their feet. Not necessarily win. If they keep it close, it's going to be a moral victory for them, if that makes any sense, John.
Yeah, I still believe in the Raiders long term. I think they do have a much more rounded roster. I think they'll probably be one of the last wild card teams at the end of the season. You know, bar an injury. It's so early in the season, but I have liked what I've seen from them. They did get beat by New England, and they actually lost to the Bills last week. We talked about the Bills a little bit earlier. Obviously, you know, your love fest with Josh Allen. You know,
Josh Allen, that's my Shay. That is my boy. Next game on the slate. We could go to the Eagles and the Steelers if you want to do that one, bud.
let's go ahead. Um, Eagles have looked really sluggish. They're 1-2-1. They have a tie against the Bengals. They could have easily lost that game. They finally got a win on the board last week against the 49ers, who are just completely beaten down, injured. They pulled that game out. I don't know if you saw their player kicked the ball when it was near the goal line, and the refs didn't notice until afterwards. Yep. Um, they won. They're actually first place in the NFC East. As sad as that is, that tie has them up a half game on the Cowboys and the Washington. Um, they're at Pittsburgh. We talked about Pittsburgh. You and I disagree on them greatly. They are second in overall defense, 14th in offense. Philadelphia is 28th in offense, 10th in D. These games are always really close between the Eagles and Steelers for the most part. Like the Eagles always play up against the Steelers, in-state rival. I still think the Steelers are going to win this game. I'm just imagining Carson Wentz being out for the next 4 weeks after this.
Because of that, I mean, look, the Steelers' front seven is no joke. So I could see Carson Wentz getting hurt. I don't wish injury upon anyone, but I'm serious. That Steelers' front seven is deadly. Ever since they got Minka, I mean, ever since that Tomlin trade from when he traded a first-round pick to get Minka, they've been over 500 ever since, and I think multiple games over 500 at that. I don't have the exact number, so I don't want to be quoted on that, but they've been doing really well. And imagine they were a game away from making the playoffs last year with Mason Rudolph as their quarterback. That's how deadly their defense is. I'm sorry?
Duck Hodges. So Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph.
Imagine that. Tomlin did a great job. I just did a little digging up. The Eagles are 12-5 all time versus Pitt, but all 5 losses came in Pittsburgh, and this game is also in Pittsburgh. So if you're into history and statistics over the course of the years, that doesn't fare out too well to be placing your bets on the Eagles or looking at the Eagles to win. The Steelers, interestingly enough, John, are seeking their first 4-0 start since 1979. It's the second longest streak in the NFL as of right now to not start out 4-0. 1979, you'd think after all the Super Bowls that they've had that, you know, they've come out to better starts. I guess they're like the Saints in a way, right? The Saints really never get off to hot starts either historically. Having said all of that, I had the Eagles in my upset special last week. I think the Steelers are just going to steamroll this week. I don't see this.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see this game being close. Like you said, the Eagles are in first place. Lord knows how. They could have kicked the game-winning field goal against the Bengals, and then there was a 5-yard penalty for a false start. Then they couldn't even kick the field goal. Then they had to punt. They're just a mess. They're a mess. The whole team right now is a mess to me. And the Steelers are also on a COVID bye as well, just like the Titans are that you mentioned. So extra rest for the Steelers. I think they steamroll them. I'll take, yikes, point spread is 7. Yikes. Sure. You know what? I'll go Steelers 27-17. I think they get an easy win here.
Okay.
Do you agree?
I think it'll be closer.
Yeah.
I think it'll be closer. The Eagles always play pretty well. I think this game is going to be ugly. I'm going with like 17-13. Like, I think it's going to be ugly.
Okay.
It's remarkable that in 2020, that's an ugly game. But in the mid 90s, early 2000s, that would have been like a normal game.
Right. I know. I honestly, when's the last time we should look up stats about this, by the way, man? When is the last time all these points have been scored? I think it's the highest scoring through week 4 in the NFL history. I just don't know by how many points. That's what I want to get at. But I did look at a stat today, and it's because there's the fewest penalties that have been thrown so far up until this point. So penalties, points, they go hand in hand, I guess, huh?
All right, I got next here.
Yeah, let's hear
You
it.
want me to?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, Rams at Washington. Rams are 3-1. Washington won their first game against Philly, but has fallen back the last 3 weeks. Dwayne Haskins has become Dwayne Haskins.
Yep.
So they have a great front seven. Like their pass rushers and defensive line for Washington are really formidable. They're actually seventh in defense. Rams are seventh in offense. I was gonna pick Washington, but I think the Rams are gonna squeak this game out. The Rams have kind of been lucky, in my opinion. They could easily be 1-3, just as easily as they are 3-1. They could have lost that Vegas, or not Vegas, that Dallas game, week 1. There was that egregious pass interference they didn't call when Ramsey mugged Cooper. But I think the Rams are going to win this. It's going to be ugly because Washington's defensive line could mess up anybody. They are. I'm really scared that they're in our division. That line is going to be trouble for years. You have Chase Young, you have Payne, you have Kerrigan still, you have Montez Sweat, who they drafted in the first round last year. Uh, they, they're just tenacious. It's unbelievable. They have that many pass rushers. I would love to just have one of those pass rushers on my team.
Hey, I hear you. And also, with the Skins being who they are, you got to remember they're starting Kyle Allen though. But I do have a little, I guess, optimism about Kyle Allen because if you're aware, last year when he was on the Panthers and he started in front of Cam Newton, new systems, Kyle Allen seems to thrive. He started out 4-0, didn't end too well, but he started out really well. So I'm optimistic with Kyle Allen in this offense now. I don't know, like if Haskins just didn't fit it just because. Look, Haskins, how many college games did the guy play? Again, don't quote me. I think it's under 10 games total that he's played in college, Haskins. They draft him right out of there. They give him no offensive weapons. They give him no line. It's not his fault. But at the same time, I don't know how much better Kyle Allen is going to be than that when you're giving him the same limited weapons. That's the reason why I'm tempted to take the Rams and the points, and to give it away. But at the same time, like you said, the Rams are not as good as the record shows. I put them in my top 10 because simply that comeback that they made against my Super Bowl team and the Bills. That was a great comeback. To just about stiff out the win was pretty impressive. I think that the Redskins keep this game very close. I'm gonna take the Rams in a 24-20 battle. What do you think?
Okay. You and Kyle Allen's mom are the only ones that believe in him. I just want to tell you that right now. Like you are the only two. Maybe Grandma, she's still around. Yeah, it doesn't matter. And Haskins, I disagree with you. Like he makes really bonehead decisions. He almost is like lazy with the football. Like you just watch him, it's just very like nonchalant, and sometimes that works for him, and sometimes that kills him. And he throws 3 picks. He has a lot of development to do. Like you said, he only started one season in college. I think he actually ended up starting like 14, 15 games throughout his career. But yeah, but just one season on a loaded Ohio State team. He has some room to go. Kyle Allen in this game, like I said, you and his mom, the only people that believe in him. I'm going with the Rams.
Are you taking the points? Are you giving them? What do you think the score is?
I'm going to go Rams 24, Washington 20.
Oh, we're going with the same score. What do you know?
Really?
Yeah. That's awesome. All right. Well, that's another agreement, huh? Next game on the slate. I have the Broncos at the Pats. Are we done with all the 1:00 games?
I
Yes,
believe
we
so.
are.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, cool. Broncos at the Pats. The Pats went from a 10-point favorite before Cam Newton got injured. They are now a 5-point favorite with who knows, Jarrett Stidham, Brian Hoyer. They're both terrible. The Denver Broncos are 1-3. The New England Patriots are 2-2. From what I gathered in my stats, great stat book today, I have the Pats as 22nd in points per game, 9th in points against, 10th in yards per game, 27th in pass yards per game, and second in rush yards per game. So they really switched their entire system around Cam Newton. They're second in rush yards per game. I can't even remember the last time the Patriots were in the top 10. Usually, every time I look at their stats, they're always 15th to 20th. So to be second, they've really turned their system around, to solely focus on Cam and his development. The Pats had a rough loss against the Chiefs. They kept it close, man. And if Hoyer doesn't make two bonehead decisions, one before the half when he gets sacked, when he doesn't even know he has no timeouts left, that game could be a lot closer than it was. But again, the Patriots don't have a quarterback to really trust right now. I think that Denver is, they're a good defense. They're an okay defense. They have no offense. I'm not excited about this game at all, to be honest with you. If Cam was starting, I'd say the Patriots in a blowout because I don't know what quarterback I'm getting with the Patriots. I want to say the Broncos keep it close. I don't really have a feel on this, to be honest with you. What do you think, Shay?
Do you know if Cam's playing this week, or is he still out as of this moment?
As of this moment, he's out. That's why the point spread dropped to 5.
Okay. I'm still going to take New England. I just think Belichick, let's fondle his balls more today. I think he's going to be able to put a. Yeah, you like that. I'm more than one level. You probably like that, but regardless, I think he's going to be able to put a game plan for them at home. I think, looking at Denver, I actually disagree. If they are healthy, I like their weapons. Between having Fant, having Judy, having Sutton, Melvin Gordon, Lindsey, they're just not healthy. Cortland Sutton, I believe, is out for the year. Drew Lock's been hurt since week 1, week 2, something like that. So they're using their second and third string quarterback. I agree with you. I was really high on Denver coming into the year, and then they started to get injured. Von Miller, before the season started, really killed it for me. I had them at the end of last season. I was like, that's going to be my surprise team. They're going to make the playoffs. And then when that happened, it kind of took the sails out of it. Because I was thinking they're going to have this dynamic pass rush duo with Chubb and Von Miller on each side. And then they're going to have an improving quarterback with the offensive weapons they put around him in the offseason. But no way. I think New England's going to win. This is going to be another ugly game. I would expect Jarrett Stidham to start this time instead of Hoyer. They did switch to him, and he played okay.
He played fine. I'm sorry, real quick, John. I thought that Stidham was the guy in New England before they signed Cam. So why was Hoyer start? I was just it caught me off guard. Why was Hoyer starting in front of Stidham? That was kind of weird to me. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Hoyer, to me, I think they probably went with him because he's a veteran. He's been in and out of New England multiple times. He's been in Houston with Bill O'Brien, very similar offensive system, because that's where Bill O'Brien came from, was New England.
Yes.
I just think it was a mistake. I mean, were they really going to beat Kansas City last week? I kind of feel like the Chiefs played with them a little bit. Like the Chiefs almost played not to lose that game, and they were like, okay, Cam's not playing. We just don't need to make any mistakes, and we're going to win this game. And that's all they really cared about. And it showed because they took time to slowly pull away. That game was close. At halftime, it was close until the third quarter. They really pulled. Yeah, so I'm going to go with New England, though. I think they're going to win this game. What are your thoughts?
I 100% agree, to be honest with you. I think New England, and yes, you're 100% right. when I said that Denver has nothing, it's because of their injuries. I had them as a playoff team even as soon as the season started when I knew that Von Miller was going to be out because I thought that Drew Lock was going to, there's those pop guys in the NFL, right? Like Lamar Jackson, he had his year last year. Mahomes had his year 2 years ago. And I thought Lock was going to be that guy. Instead, it's my MVP, Josh Allen. So that's fine. But I have the Patriots winning relatively easy in this game. I'm going to go probably around I think it's going to be low scoring. I'm going to go 17-10. Pats.
Yeah, like 17-13, 2016. It's gonna be something like that, I think.
I agree. Next game on the slate. Let's go to Miami and San Francisco. San Francisco is an 8-point favorite. The over-under total sits at 46 and a half. Miami, San Francisco, big upset, but it's an upset to Vegas, right? They were 8-point favorites, and Philly scuffed out the win. But we got to remember who was playing for San Francisco. Garoppolo was hurt. Kittle didn't even. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Kittle was playing, but aside from that, when you don't have your starting quarterback, okay, and you're an 8-point favorite, that is Vegas telling you that your team is overall just 150% better than the opposing side. And for Philly to come in there and still beat you, that's a little embarrassing for San Francisco's sake. I think San Francisco's pissed off. I think they're home. I think they're going to just completely obliterate Miami. What's your thoughts?
I don't think they'll obliterate them. If Garoppolo does play, and there's like some up in the air, he might. Um, I'm not sure they're going to bring him back this early. I still think they're going to win. I was actually going to pick Miami as an upset at first, and then I dug deeper into the stats, and I was like, nope, never mind. Run away from that. Not going to touch that.
What kind of stats did you find that made you back off?
San Francisco is going to third least yards in the league on defense. That's with Bosa having been out. Um, they're still 11th in offense. They're on their third string running back and their backup quarterbacks. Kittle hasn't played a couple games. Um, I think San Francisco gets right this game. I think they're going to beat Miami. You know, Fitzpatrick, who knows what you're going to get? He'll either throw 3 touchdowns, look awesome, or he's going to like throw 3 picks. Like, who knows? I just think that San Francisco, I do like Flores in Miami in the long term, but Kyle Shanahan, I think, is probably one of the better head coaches in the league, and his offensive scheme can make anything work, honestly.
It is
Their
incredible.
big jump last.
Yeah, it's incredible looking at that offense that he runs sometimes. Even in the Super Bowl, he had so many design play calls. It was unbelievable to watch. I was just going off of what you were saying about Shanahan, but it's really fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. McKinnon has picked up right where like Mostert was doing. McKinnon's been a great weapon for them as a replacement. I think San Francisco wins. Like it's going to be close. I do think it's still this is the NFL. Within 7 points, I would say this game's going to be
And as far as the total, what would you go? 46 and a half.
46.5 over. I
Over.
like the over in that. Yep. I think some
Yeah.
points are going to be put up this week.
Fair enough. And look, to me at least, this is the most intriguing game on the whole slate to me. Okay, the Indianapolis Colts at the Cleveland
Mhm.
Browns. I think this is the game of the week, John. What do you have to say about it?
Me too. I was actually looking at that, and we talked a lot about Cleveland yesterday and how they just really laid it on the Cowboys. They almost blew it in the end, but they really just they are rolling. They are running the ball down your throat. I told you I like their offensive linemen. I like what I've seen. I've seen them play a lot so far this season. Um, Indianapolis, I don't know. I think they're a playoff team. I think they're going to compete with Tennessee for their division. I think they'll probably make it in either through the division or the wild card eventually. But there's just something about them. Philip Rivers just looks old and okay. Like I think they're a good team. I almost wonder. Nah, I mean Rivers is still probably better than Brissett, but I don't know. I think Cleveland's going to win this game. Do you know that Indy actually has the first overall defense in the league this year?
Yes, I picked him up on fantasy in our fantasy football league, man, and I'm happy I did that. They're crushing it, dude. It's incredible.
Hmm. They're doing amazing. I think Cleveland at home. I think they're going to win this. We've been talking about Baker. Baker's been playing okay, but I think he's been good. They're not really asking him to do much, but when they do, he's getting it done. Um, I think they are making up for how bad last year was, and they're going to be that much better this year. I like how they've started so far. You know, if you throw out the first game against the Ravens, they've looked awesome. Like honestly, they deserve the record. Uh, I think they're going to squeak this one out. This is going to be a tough battle. Can't wait to watch this game.
I couldn't agree more with you, to be honest with you. What they're doing with Baker is I'm falling in love with it. And I wish that my stupid franchise could actually learn something. And Stefanski was with the Vikings before, okay? Up until last year, right? Or this year, rather, right? When he went to Cleveland. And all of a sudden, Cleveland is racking up points galore. And what are they asking Baker Mayfield to do? The bare minimum. He barely did. Look, he's thrown for 182 yards a game. Hey, Bake, like if you can, get a touchdown here and there, get 10 yards here and there for Chubb, when he was not injured, was the all-star of this game. And now the man that you mentioned yesterday, that I completely forgot what his name is as of right now, the other running back for Cleveland is I'm sorry, what's his name?
Ernest Johnson.
Thank you. Absolute stud. So that's what Cleveland does. They run the ball first, and then they ask Baker to do the bare minimum for them. And it's working out beautifully. Odell had his first multiple reception game on Sunday against the Cowboys as well. I love what you said about Rivers, man. He looks old, he looks worn out. I like them as a team, the Colts. I think they'll make the playoffs, right? You want to think that because they look, their defense. You know what it reminds me of, this Colts team, is the Patriots last year. Brady didn't look his best, but that defense carried the Patriots into the playoffs. And I think that's what we see with the Colts here. Rivers doesn't look all there, but I still think the team is good enough to get into the destined land, into the play, not the destined land, Super Bowl, into the playoffs
Okay,
still.
let's calm down.
You know what I mean. Look, Cleveland fourth in points per game. They're 14th in yards per game. Look, they rank 30th in pass yards per game. That's how much they're asking Baker Mayfield to throw the ball. Only the Jets and Giants are behind them. So, and first in rush yards per game, right behind the Patriots are right behind them. I think this is going to be a great game to see how that great Indy defense matches up against the run of the Cleveland Browns. That's going to be a fun matchup to watch. I go under the total. The total's 46. I think this is going to be a grunt sort of game. I'm going with the upset. Indy's a 1.5 point favorite. I'm going Brown. Did you say you're picking the Browns as well?
I'm picking the Browns.
I'm going with the Browns too. I'm going to say Browns 20-17. I'm going to go with.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next game. We have the Giants at Dallas. Dallas is 1-3. Giants are only a game behind them in the division at 0-4. Isn't that remarkable?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Giants are 31st in total offense. No surprise. They have been awful. They cannot score points. They cannot move the ball. They have been terrible without Saquon, but they really weren't doing that well with Saquon anyway. They cannot block in the running game. Jones, he is just holding onto the ball way too long. I still have a little bit of faith in him. It might just be the Giants fan in me. I think he can be good. He shows glimpses of he is super accurate. He can run. He just has really bad pocket awareness, and I like to call them, Giants must look for these quarterbacks to just make bonehead plays randomly. Phil Simms would make a bonehead play. Eli would make a bonehead play out of nowhere. And, just follow tradition, Daniel Jones. Like, they easily could have maybe won the Pittsburgh game. They were in that in the beginning of the season. Last week, they played really well. The only reason why they've been in those games is their defense. You know where the Giants' defense ranks in the league? Top 5, baby. Yeah,
Not
number
know that.
5.
Wow, pretty impressive.
Yeah. Other than the 49er game, they've been great. They've been hanging in there. Blake Martinez, PFF absolutely bashed him. as a sign-in. He's second in the league in total tackles. He's all over the field from Green Bay, free agent. Um, James Bradbury has been very good. He's actually ranked in like the top 5 corners in the league in the season right now.
Oh,
He's been awesome. Overall, their D line with Tomlinson, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams. They're not exactly pass rushers, but they definitely push the pocket. They have some big boys on that line. And Zoe Carter, another great player on the Giants this year. I think he's taken the next step. He's improved in his run defense, and he's also improved in his pass rush a little bit. He's been all over the field this year. Dallas, on the other hand, underachieving. I think this team could easily be 3-1. They're first in total offense as far as yards. They're 30th in defense. So these teams are the exact opposite. One is actually doing very well on defense and doing terrible on offense. The other one is the exact opposite. I think Dallas has too much talent to my dismay in this game. I think Dallas is going to win it. I don't know what the point spread is, but I kind of figure Dallas is going to win this game 10 to 14 points. Honestly, the Giants haven't scored a touchdown in the last 2 weeks. Like they do not have an offense. Shepard's been out. Um, Tate is fighting opposing players more than he's actually doing anything on the field. So he has to wait till the end of the game to actually do something. But that's it. I have Dallas with this win. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
sure. Hey, John, roll the drum roll. We got to come up with a certain music ordinance for my upset special of the week. I'm going Giants here, man. And let me tell you why. Uh, the Dallas Cowboys are 1 point away and a Dan Quinn led team away from being 0-4. I know you keep saying that this Dallas team, they have a lot of weapons, which they do. I just do not believe in Dak. When the games are close, like we touched on this yesterday, when the games are close, Dak doesn't show me anything of significance to make me say, that's my guy. I want him when the game is on the line. He doesn't do that for me. So you touched on it too. I have the stats over here as well. 32nd in defense against, which is the Cowboys. The Giants rank in the top 5. How is Dak going to do against a good defense? And if his team can't score, what's going to happen? That means the game's going to be close. Is Dak going to elevate? I don't see it happening, to be honest with you. I know that there's Saquon's hurt, right? We don't have that much of a rush yards, a rusher for the Giants. I'm sorry, but I look at this realistically. If Dak is in a close game, I don't trust him. Just like Kirk, I don't trust him. Matt Ryan, don't trust. He falls in that category, like we touched on. Daniel Jones, I think you have your Daniel Jones glasses on a little too much. You say that he could play in this league and he could be good. I mean, look, the guy has a 60% completion percentage, 220 pass yards a game, 2 touchdowns, 5 picks. I don't know. I don't have Trubisky's stats in front of me, but I'm assuming Trubisky's on the same, playing field as Daniel Jones at this point right now. Look, there's no explanation. I just think the Giants are going to scope the win out. Um, Also, what I like to see in the Giants, is the way that they could run the ball without Saquon. They did pretty well against the Rams. Every time I flicked the Rams channel on, I would always see them running for a first down. That gets my confidence up a little bit. Like I said, you're playing the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL. They just gave up 49 points at home. Dallas actually allows fans at a home field advantage. You just gave up 49 points. I mean, I love the Giants in this game. I'll take the points all day. Dallas being 1-3 and a point away from being 0-4. They're not nine. They're 9.5 point favorites. They're not 9.5 point favorites. Points better than anyone in this league. I'm going Giants. Do you think I'm crazy?
You're insane. I hope you're right. You are freaking insane, man. Like you're off your rocker. Stop taking drugs before the podcast. Like, come on, man. No way. And I'm going to tell you why. One reason why I don't think the game will go that way is because the Giants' offense is not good enough to ever pull away. Dallas has been getting away from what makes them good, which is a balanced offense with running Zeke and using the receiving weapons. They've been playing from behind, so they've been passing a lot. Dak's put up these crazy numbers. I think he's on pace for 6,000 passing yards as of this moment.
Yeah, it's something
I mean,
stupid. Yeah.
not going to keep up. He's not going to get there. but I think the game's going to be close enough, or Dallas is going to be ahead. That Zeke's going to get more carries. Like Zeke only got 12 carries last week. He had 8 receptions to make up for it, but I just think overall they're going to be more balanced. I just don't think the Giants' offense. I know you're talking about Jones, my boy, but who does he have? Much like the Jets, where is weapons? Where is his offensive line? I mean, it's kind of hard to throw the ball from your back. Uh, so you have to give it time. This Giants team is developing. I think eventually, hopefully, this 9 years of terror will end eventually, and my Giants will start getting back to winning divisions, winning playoff games, winning improbable Super Bowls. Uh, I just don't see it. I hope I'm wrong. The Giants have not played very well against Dallas lately,
Yeah,
and I think they're
I think Dak doesn't even have a loss against you guys, if I'm not mistaken. I think he has an undefeated record.
not true. We actually swept them his rookie year.
Did you?
That one random year that the Giants had, where they were like 11-5, like Ben McAdoo's first season.
They won the division.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Dallas won the division that year, but we actually swept them. We gave them 2 of their 3 regular season losses that year.
Wow. See, thank God you said that because I thought that Dak was undefeated for some reason.
That's the last time we beat them, though. So there's that.
Yeah. For what it's worth, right? I think we're all done with the Sunday day games. Now we have the Sunday
Yep.
night game, and this is if you don't mind me touching on it first for a little bit, we have the Minnesota Vikings at the Seattle Seahawks. Now, as a Vikings fan, I'm just going to go on like a 30-second tangent. We can't do anything right, Shay. Okay, we can't tank correctly because we're not bad enough to tank. We're not good at. We're good. We're not good enough to make the playoffs now because we already have 3 losses. We'll be that 7-9 to 8-8 team that's going to pick midway through the draft, get our who knows what we need, but we're not going to get a quarterback, which is what I know that we should get. We're not going to get that. We're going to get some cornerback that Mike Zimmer always loves to get, and then we're back in this situation over and over year after year. Seahawks, on the other hand, 4-0. They look like one of the best teams in the NFL. I think a lot of people would agree with that. That I have them going against the Bills in the Super Bowl. You also have the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. We were both really high on them coming into the year. Seattle just looks great. I don't know how you could pick against them right now. Russell Wilson, 75% completion percentage. That's absurd. I've never even seen a stat like that 4 games into the year. 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. On the other side of the ball, other team rather, Kirk Cousins has 6 touchdowns, 6 picks. He already has 1 more interception than he did all of last year. The regular Kirk Cousins is back that we completely, the quarterback market's high, but we completely we lost. We lost on this deal and we extended them. It's a loss. I'd be shocked if the Vikings keep it close. I kind of feel as a Vikings fan, when you get those weird feelings that your team's going to do well. For some reason, I feel like we're going to do well. I don't know if we're going to win. I think we're definitely going to cover the spread. I just have a weird feeling with this thing that you want to call a team with the Vikings. I think they'll keep it close. And again, it's just my Viking instinct that I have in me. The Seattle Seahawks are second in points per game. Minnesota ranks 14th. Points against, they ranks pretty similarly. The Vikings are 26th in points against. Seattle's 21st. And yards per game, Seattle's third in the league. And we're bottom half. We're at 25. So everything points to Seattle. I think Seattle's going to do. And I hate when people say, by the way, last thing, John, I hate when people say that Seattle doesn't have a lot of weapons. DK Metcalf is, I think, one of the best receivers in the game that Russell Wilson has. And you could say that Russell Wilson makes him better, but it doesn't mean that he's not a top receiver in this league. He's a beast. He's amazing. So to have that guy to throw to I think Seattle has, a pretty solid receiving core with him in there. I think Seattle wins. Minnesota keeps it close. I'm going to go 27-24. Am I crazy to think that my Vikings could keep it close in Seattle?
Not at all. I'm with you. I actually have a feeling about the Vikings this week. I'm still going to pick Seattle to win. Russell Wilson's been amazing. They finally have unleashed him, let him throw the damn ball. He's doing great. He is my MVP pick this year, and it's looking good so far. I think this is his year to finally win MVP. I feel like he's kind of been screwed a couple times. Like he should have won it. Like he's been their team the last 2 years. I agree with you on the receivers. I don't think Moncrief's a top receiver in the league. They have a bunch of B plus receivers though. They are solid. Okay, Lockett, I love as a weapon. Um, you know, with Carson, they have Hyde as a backup. Uh, their defense has actually not been good though. That's why I think Minnesota is going to stay in this game. You have two good receivers. Thielen and Justin Jefferson looks like a player. He looks really good. I know you have your trepidations about Kirk. We kind of talked about him. Him, Matt Ryan, Dak, all those guys are kind of similar. They're Matt Stafford. They're all in that same grouping of players. I think they're going to keep it close. I'm going to go with 28-24. I think there's going to be points in this game where the Vikings are leading and the Seahawks are going to have to come back. But I think overall, you do not play very well in Seattle. I know there's no fans. That makes a huge difference in that stadium. But the Vikings just really have not done well in Seattle. I think Seattle wins this game. They go to 5-0. I think it's really it with that game. I'm sorry you have to watch it on Sunday night. They're gonna keep you up late because they're gonna keep it close.
Uh,
And
yeah.
it's so early.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I just saw another stat earlier today. If you want to know how abysmal Kirk Cousins is versus teams above 500 at any point of the year, so week one doesn't count for the statistic because we don't know how that team is going to fare out, right? So for teams at week two or beyond that are 500 or over 500, not 500 or better, over 500, he is 6-32. That is just I have no words for that. I think we beat one team over 500 all last year. It's sick to watch, man. I'm over. I see. I already have this little mindset in my head about Kirk, so it's already getting me upset. Now I'm gonna have to watch the game on Sunday night. It's gonna be even worse. Anyways, last game Monday night we got the Los Angeles Chargers at the New Orleans Saints. The Chargers are an 8-point favorite. Hey, am I crazy to think that Herbert could be a star in this league, John?
He looks very good. And I think I know where you're going with this game. And I hate you because that's exactly where I'm going with this game. We are agreeing way too much this
This
week.
is absurd.
We usually disagree with at least half the freaking games. I can't believe this.
Wow.
Uh, the Chargers, I think they're going to upset the Saints.
I
I
haven't.
don't really like how Breeze has looked. I just don't know. I don't like how he's looked. I'm not sure if Mike Thomas is going to be back yet this week. It is Monday night. That really sucks. You have him in fantasy. You have to wait all the way till Monday to find out you have one of the top receivers in the league. New Orleans is actually sixth in defense. Um, the Chargers have some injuries on their defense. You know, Derwin James got hurt again right before the season started. That guy is awesome when he's on the field. He's never on the field.
Mhm.
He reminds me of Bob Sanders if he was, taller than a short person. Had to be careful. I said that. um, the Chargers played really well against the Chiefs. Almost pulled that out. Herbert started last second. Um, they were beating Tampa Bay for most of that game last week. They almost pulled that out. I think they get it done this week. If this was like a normal situation and we had fans in the stand and it was packed, that Monday night New Orleans of voodoo, I think would probably push them over the top. But since you're playing either empty stadiums or high school crowds, I don't think anything really matters with as far as fans and location. So I have the Chargers.
I agree with you, John. I agree with you, Shay. And here's what I wanted to touch upon on the Saints as well. You, if I'm not mistaken, thought I was absolutely crazy when I had the Saints missing the playoffs before the season started. I thought the Bucs were going to win the division, and I just thought that Drew Brees was going to progressively decline. And I think that's what we're seeing. He doesn't look Philip Rivers bad now. We're not going to go that far, but he just doesn't look the same. And I think we saw that last year, the last couple of games of last year. We kind of saw, right? We saw his decline a little bit, a lot of picks, lousy throws into coverage, double coverage. And we're like, hey, this is not the Drew Brees we know. And it's starting to come out a lot more this year, too. you touched on it, man. Herbert looks fantastic. To like we touched on it last podcast. To be a silly play, a silly throw over your body, across your body, to be that play away from beating the Super Bowl champs, you did very well. You kept it you were crapping on the Bucs, right? The first half. Kind of let that game go, but we see what you could do, Herbert, and do your thing. Do your thing. Win Rookie of the Year for all I care. I hope you do. You look fantastic. I hope he keeps doing it. I smell upset all day here too, John. I'm not even going to lie to you. Do you, as far as the score, there's an 8-point spread. What do you think the final score is going to be?
So the Saints are 8-point favorites in this game.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers with the outright win. So obviously, I'm going to take them with the points there. What's the over under?
The total in at 50 and a half.
Man, they're good at these numbers. Oof. I'm going to go over.
Wow.
I know that's 3 overs, but it's been a very high scoring year. I think Vegas might be a little off on their over unders. They've, excellent their point spreads as always, but I think the over unders are just a little off. I don't think they've adjusted to this point.
I think that Vegas is over adjusted, to be honest with you, because they're seeing so many high totals. They're putting the numbers so high that I think you're getting a lot of value on taking the under, because you're shooting for the stars with all these high totals now, because that's what you're used to seeing. Vegas is adapting very well. I think there's 2 games on the whole slate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games on the whole slate that are 40 points. Everything else is 50 plus. That's Vegas telling you that they've adjusted. I think there's a ton of value on a whole bunch of unders on every single game this week, to be honest, but that's just me. John, what I want to get to now, we touched on scores, we touched on games, we touched on over unders. Out of all the games, I want your 3 best bets, and I'll give you my 3 best bets. And, just to let our fans know, how we're going to fare up towards the end of the season, and what our record is going to be at the end of the season with our best bets. Do you have any 3 best bets that you want to give out, and how you feel and all that kind of stuff?
I would feel really comfortable with the Chargers. We just talked about them. You don't even need to pick them to win. Just take them with the points. I think you'll at least get that in the bag. We talked about Rams and Washington. I like Washington with the points in that game. I like the Rams to win that game, obviously. And then the other game, Carolina, Atlanta. Oh, no, forget that. Baltimore, Cincy. Complete smash job. It's going to be a massacre. I think they'll put up more points than they did last year, but I still just see Baltimore's going to win that game by 3 touchdowns plus.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, I like Cincy with the points. I don't know if I'm going to like them enough to take Cincy and bet on them, but I'll give you my 3. I know I touched on it. I said I love Vegas, but you know what? After reading all those stats, since 2017 was the last game that the Raiders, they weren't Vegas at that time, the Raiders won was in 2017. Every game since then has been a complete blowout. I'm staying away. I give you my 3 bets right here. I love the Chargers. We both agree on getting 8. I'm taking the Vikings +7 in Seattle. I love the Vikings keeping that game close. And you think I'm crazy for this one, but I love this upset. The money line on this, ready for this, is +400. So you put $100 down, you get 400 back if you take the Giants. I want to say to go on the money line, even though I have them winning, but you could definitely take 10 points. Why not? Take the 10 points with the Giants. I think that's an easy win. Division game too. I think the Giants got that.
Stop betting the Giants. I'm a Giants fan. They suck. Stop picking them. I want you to keep money. I mean, if you love giving away money, sure. Pick the Giants this season.
The last time I picked them was against the Bears, and that was a 5.5 spread, and they lost by 4, so they covered for me.
They covered for you there. I banged the table. I said, leave the Steeler game alone.
Yeah, you did.
You did. Texted me right after. You're like, damn it.
Yes, and by the way, my NFL record so far this year is 5-7. So I usually takes me a couple weeks to catch my stride. I usually end up over 500 by the end of the year. 5-7, not terrible. You know how Colin Coward on his show kind of has a blazing five. We're giving you our three best picks. John gave you his. I gave you mine. Is there any other topics of discussion you want to go over, John? Any significant players that are injured you want to go over that's going to affect a team's play on Sunday or Monday?
Forget injuries. What we need to talk about is Tate versus Ramsey, baby.
Let's hear it.
That is one of the more interesting stories I have heard. I know a lot of people saw their altercation after the game, and Ramsey waited outside the Giants' locker room for Tate. A little backstory on this. Ramsey is the father of two of Tate's sister's babies.
Yes.
And he actually left Tate's sister last year while she was pregnant with the second child for a Vegas dancer, as they call them. He left for a stripper. And all off season, they were kind of throwing back tweets because, real men fight on Twitter.
Yeah.
Back and forth. So Tate said, we're going to have a word, and he made his promise. Tate, for as little as he's done this season, not the same player as Steve Smith from the Panthers and Ravens, but like same type of like feisty, talkative player. And then, Ramsey, just over and over again, this guy just shows his true character. Like, I think that's the worst thing you can do is leave a mother with two children. I'm sure she's getting some money from him. And I'm sure Tate's taking care of his sister, but, that's not his responsibility. So,
yeah, hey.
Craziness.
Yeah. And look, the only reason why I'm not going to blame Ramsey for doing what he's doing or did what he did is because I'm not in Ramsey's shoes. Maybe his girl is absolutely bonkers, fuck batshit, right? For all we know, who knows how crazy she is? Maybe Ramsey just can't deal with her. Who knows what the deal is? What I do know, though, John, is that Tom Brady did leave his pregnant girlfriend at one point. I believe her name was Monian. That's how you say it. But yeah, but there's no coverage on that. But as soon as Ramsey does it, because Ramsey does have, a track record of doing, not nice things, I guess you could say in layman's terms. So everyone is knocking on Ramsey. I'm not knocking on Tate. I'm not knocking on any of them. It is what it is. I do think that this kind of stuff should be left privately because we shouldn't be in these guys' personal lives, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was embarrassed as a Giants fan to see that. Take care of that. To me, it's kind of like superficial, like showing like, there's cameras on you. You're fighting at midfield instead of just beating the crap out of him in the off season or something like that. I can see both sides of it. I get it to a point where you're saying we're not in his shoes. You talked about Tom Brady, but Tom Brady has always been very calculated with his PR and his brand his entire career, and Ramsey not so much.
Yeah.
Ramsey has repeatedly just, between the fight with AJ Green a few years back on the field, he's fighting, Tate now. Tate obviously initiated it this time. Bringing the Brinks truck in Jacksonville, I thought was kind of funny, but again, he kind of had a dust up with reporters this year because they kept asking him about questions. I think he handled that well. Like, you get asked the same question over and over and over again. You give them answers. At one point, they're just not accepting your answer. Like, they want you to say something. Just crazy that went on. I think that's the juiciest thing that's happened this year. And you have to remember, this is the same year that Earl Thomas got caught in a bed with his brother, another woman. Thomas the choo-choo train over there. And his wife caught him, held him up at gunpoint.
Gunpoint. Imagine in bed. He was probably naked. And I couldn't even begin to imagine what was going on in that household. Unbelievable. That wraps up our time, guys. Thank you for watching Too Many Men in the Huddle, along with Cheech and
Hey, baby.
We'll see you guys next time. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do, guys. I appreciate all the love. So does Shay. We love you guys. Thank you. See you next time.